It's day 25 of 100 days of making comics. I'm Jan, and for 1 hour a day, every day, I will devote my time to making my own personal comic book come to life so that at the end of this 100 days, which is more or less, if I can remember correctly, mid-February, there's a Super Comic Con here in London, and I would very much like to be one of those guys with his very own work under his arm, showing it off, and seeing if I can get some feedback. So what is this comic book all about? I'm very much basing my comic book on the 1979 classic Alien. I have my own story, but I'm following its template to help me move along so I don't have to, well, reinvent the wheel would be one way of putting it. I very much like to play in the wheelhouse of movies like Alien, The Thing, movies where an intrepid crew makes a terrible discovery while running out of coffee. So, yes, it's been 25 days already. If you haven't been paying attention, that's okay. I'm only on page 2. When I started my little project, I was very much inspired by Kevin Cross, Ox, Gasbot, and as I'm discovering many more, whose videos I've only just started watching. But I very much came to my project with a story that was in the back of my mind that I had nowhere near finished, and I didn't realize just how bare bones, not bare bones, but like how much world building I had done and not actual page to page, this is what's going to happen script writing. So for the past 25 days, I've been working on a lot of character designs. I've been filling out the story. I've been focusing on what should happen in the first 10 pages of my comic book. And today I've finally managed to get up early. This is a huge accomplishment for me. To get up early, to start work on my comic book before I go work a 12-hour crazy shift training people. I tend to work night shifts, and I tend to work late at night and staying up later and later working on this project, and that has meant a serious decline in stamina over the past 3 weeks. I finally managed to get a proper night's rest in last night. I've been uploading videos. There was only so much I could do on my computer anyway, so I made some sketches. But I will continue this getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning, so I have a good 2 to 3 hours to work on my comic book. Today I've just been cleaning up page 1, and right now I'm going to start looking at page 2 because I want to make sure I don't make the same mistake and print out blues that are too dark. And by blues, I mean, I have my rough right here. 1 second. This is my page 2 roughs. I made these on my day 23 video. If you'd like to check that out, it's my longest video to date. The blues for page 1. So I paint everything instead of working on tight pencils. I seem to get more of a kick out of just like turning it into like a kind of watercolor painting and just going straight to inks on top of that. But the blues I had printed for page 1 were, I guess, too dark, and it became a little difficult getting rid of the blues. I hadn't done it before. Apparently, Ox mentioned there are ways of scanning it in and sending it to black and white so that the scanner takes out the blues, and that gave me the idea of turning it into black and white in Photoshop and going into the black and white panel where there's the red, blue, green, cyan, yellow, purple settings, and just a few sliders and all the blues were almost gone. There's some retouching I have to do. There's definitely some line art I would like to correct on page 1 digitally, but I don't want to spend more time on these pages. I want to move forward, and then once I have my 10 pages, which is the bare minimum I expect to get out of this 100 days. Well, hopefully I hope to do way more than that, but once I have 10 pages, then I will go back and correct what I have done before. Not now, because otherwise I will just keep redrawing and redrawing and redrawing. And the one thing that doing the 100 days of comics has taught me, and where I've benefited the most, is the constant pressure of doing something every day and moving forward. The deadline. If I keep going back, that pressure is going to dissipate, and I will just be redrawing and redrawing the same panels over and over again and never finish anything. So that being said, this video is now at 8 minutes. I'm going to have to edit this as well. Day 25 begins in earnest right now.
What is it? Sunlight. Sunlight.
I printed out page 1 again. It's still a little light. It's much better than the previous print. Oh, there's so much I'd like to correct. Look at some of these lines. They're just awful. It's not thick enough. Or too thick. By some awful lines. And got my roughs out. I thought I'd have a go, instead of using the red pencils, like I kind of want to ink straight away, but there's a lot of stuff that really needs to be thought out a little bit more, like these letters. Like I'd like the letters to be incorporated into the art, but I don't want to do that in one go in inks. And so I thought I'd just have a go drawing in gray pencils on top of the blues, see how that comes out, and then turning it into blues again and printing it out again. I think that's okay. Also, the title of this video is Rude Awakening, but it really referred to 8 a.m., not to the long arm of the government reaching out across the seas from one country to the next over a decade and reminding me I have a student loan. I think I lost an hour just being seriously down on the thought of going back into debt. So yeah, debt. What a bummer. Now I have to find out how much it is. Have they charged interest, inflation, penalties? So yeah. Not much good to say about debt, except do the right thing. Don't go into one. Meanwhile, so I lost an hour drawing, but just being incredibly frustrated. But I did get back into it, and it was also kind of nice to not have to think too much about it, and just like, the drawing is there, and just kind of, the drawing is there, just draw on top of it. Moving forward, even though it's just one panel. All in all, it's not all lost, but it's not as productive as I wanted this morning. But then there's tonight and there's tomorrow again. So with that being said, and I will see you on Thursday. We're back. It's late at night. Not too late. Only 1:30. But we did manage to get some drawing in for roughly 45 minutes. So I'm just going to show you. Check this out.